Welcome everybody to Funeral Nation episode 116. I'm Ryan Thogmartin. That is Jeff, the Funeral Commander Harbison. What's up? You are in somewhere different. We have never done a video in the spot that you are in right now.
Yeah, I'm in the commander's quarters, man. It's a mixture of Tommy Bahama, West Indies, Charleston, South Carolina, smoking a cigar. So it's and a rum factory. So it's
Wow.
all mixed in here,
It's good stuff.
It's a perfect place.
Well, I'm still at the beach for another 24 hours, and then I'll be headed back to Ohio.
Yeah, you got that killer hat on that matches your bathing suit. So
That's
I'm
right.
digging that.
100%.
Yeah, and you know what? This thing wouldn't work. We got Jamie with C&J and the boys. I met with a couple firms this week that they had an accounts receivable problem, and he is part of the solution. He and the C&J team for assignment funding. So if you will, go ahead and run his promotion.
What payment method do you prefer families use for your goods and services? Most funeral homes and cemeteries prefer cash check or credit card over life insurance as the preferred method of payment. However, families who use life insurance are able to purchase the funeral service of their choice and spend 31% more on your goods and services. By encouraging more families to pay with insurance, you can create a better experience for the family and become more profitable without increasing your call volume. The reason most firms prefer cash check or credit card over life insurance is that insurance companies are a hassle to deal with, and payment can often take weeks or months to receive. With C&J Financial, you can receive funding within 24 hours of verification of benefit, thereby eliminating the hassle, headache, and cash flow delay in processing insurance death claims. Let us show you why hundreds of funeral homes all across America choose C&J for their assignment funding needs, and why many associations, accounting firms, and industry leaders recommend C&J to their clients and members.
Awesome, Mr. Captain. Well, what do we have? What do we got going on today's episode?
You know, interesting. The big news for the week has been the decision about cemeteries and funeral homes up in Wisconsin. And we're going to have a guest that was involved with that, Christine Hentges, who is from the Tribute Companies, as well as the new president of ICCFA as a guest. So hang on to that. You're certainly going to want to watch it. Ryan, last week, the haters effing episode was a big one.
It was a good one. We got a lot of great feedback, and it's interesting because when we post something like that, and when I posted my kind of mean comments video, it's like everyone comes out of the woodwork at least 50-1 for us versus against us, and it's interesting to have that type of feedback from who's really listening to the episodes that we're putting out, who's digesting the content. Is sometimes we wonder, is anyone even listening to what we have to say, or is this just pure entertainment? And it's really not. Like there's a lot of power behind the content, and it's creating a lot of conversations that we don't even know exist.
Exactly, and we'll see in this next interview coming up here in just a few moments that we're leading that charge. I mean, there was some print that went out, but this is actually listening to one point of view, and we hope to have another soon. So this conversation and what's going on was brought to us by Live Oak Bank. There's somebody that's leading the conversation on if you need money for funeral homes and cemeteries now. They have a new product. So
That's
let's
right.
Hear about it.
We've got a very brand new commercial, so let's run it.
Introducing a new way for cemetery owners to grow their business. The Inventory Growth Loan, powered by Live Oak Bank. Want a better way to expand your inventory than the traditional pre-sale plans? Build and grow your businesses now. The Inventory Growth Loan leverages the value of newly constructed mausoleums and columbaria to get your expansion project moving sooner. Whether you're an existing cemetery needing to increase your number of crypts or a funeral home looking to add a memorial garden or columbarium, this product is your potential game changer. The Inventory Growth Loan recognizes the cyclical nature of cemetery sales. So when sales are low, enjoy less strain on your cash flow. When sales are strong, pay down more of your principal. A more aggressive principal paydown shortens the life of your loan and fuels further expansion. Plus, our online management system allows you to easily manage your new inventory, monitor sales, review payments, and check your loan balance all in one place. The system also automates disbursements after each sale, then updates your loan balance, which helps you stay connected to your business's performance. The Inventory Growth Loan is faster and more flexible than traditional loans, which allows you to pay less and retain more value. Ready to grow? Contact us and learn more about the Inventory Growth Loan powered by Live Oak Bank.
Ryan, I'm excited for this interview we've got here in a few moments with Christine Hentges. She's from the Tribute Companies and also, as I mentioned earlier, the president of ICCFA. So let's roll that interview. Christine, welcome to the Effin' Show. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. How about share a little bit about yourself and your professional background?
Sure. So I am president of the Tribute Companies, which is based out of Wisconsin, and we have 3 different divisions of our company. We own our own cemeteries. So we own 4 cemeteries in Wisconsin. We have a precast concrete company that manufactures vaults and crypts and niches for cemeteries throughout the country. And architectural division that designs cemeteries, funeral homes, chapels, all of the above for the death care profession.
Interesting. The only problem is you don't have a funeral home, right?
That's correct. That's correct. In Wisconsin, there's a little problem getting that here.
Yeah.
It's a perfect segue into our next question. You live in Wisconsin, Christine, and we've been following closely a recent court decision that was made there. Can you tell us about that court decision?
Absolutely. Happy to do so. So we were fortunate enough to be able to partner up with a group called the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty and file a lawsuit in 2014 in the judicial system about the anti-combination laws, which restrict cemeteries from owning funeral homes and funeral homes from owning cemeteries in Wisconsin. And not only is it the ownership in Wisconsin, but Wisconsin is actually greatly restricted because we can't have any financial gain from each other. So that also means we can't partner, we can't refer each other, we can't do anything where there's a financial gain. So Wisconsin's really restrictive, and we knew we needed to change that. So the lawsuit was basically filed on the basis of unconstitutionality. We had gone over the legislative route and tried to get the law changed for literally decades. And we knew that that wasn't the route to take because we just don't have as many cemeterians as we do funeral homes in Wisconsin. So we filed a lawsuit and it went to Supreme Court in Wisconsin. And unfortunately, we found out on Wednesday that we lost.
Interesting. So the summarization is that a funeral home can't own a cemetery or have any financial ties, and a cemetery can't do it. So essentially, no such thing as combos out. And now you guys have lots of cheese, but those aren't real combos because they're covered with pretzels. So
Right.
all that, right?
Exactly. Thank you for tying that in there. That was a great segue, Jeff.
Yeah, well, I just want to bring it up because when we do have consumers watch, they're walking like they're not allowed to have combos. I thought that was a cheese steak, but that's not real cheese. But anyway, whole different ballgame. So it's interesting a thought. So a cemeterian, you're prohibited from owning a funeral home, and of course, vice versa. A funeral home's prohibited from owning a cemetery. However, what about crematories? So a funeral home can own a crematory, which technically isn't a funeral home. Can the cemetery own a crematory there?
They can. Right now, there is no restriction on owning a crematory in Wisconsin. A few years ago, we did create a licensure that said that you need to be a licensed crematory authority, but that is not restricted amongst our businesses. So we do have that ability to own crematories in the state of Wisconsin as a cemetery or funeral home, which, as we know right now, cremations are at 54% in Wisconsin. So maybe there's a way that we can work with that.
Interesting. There's a twist, people. Follow up later. More to come.
Watch out.
Well,
I believe that really this comes down to the fact, though, too, is that this the whole loss that we had this week, which was really, it was very devastating and shocking that we actually lost them as well, because I believe that there is a huge basis of unconstitutionality here. But unfortunately, we're dealing with just an old school, antiquated mentality that apparently we can't do anything about. So the reality of it, and where I reflect on all of this, is that I, as well as the rest of us, whether we're going to make it in this business, need to absolutely change our business model. So whether or not it's going to be something that those people who believe that this is okay, that we can't change this law, they're going to die out on the vine in, I'm guessing, a decade, 15 years maybe, no matter what, because their mentality, their philosophies, everything is so backwards and their heads are in the sand, and it's really frustrating to watch that. So I just believe that those of us who are doing the right thing are going to absolutely survive and thrive, and those who want to continue to think like their grandpas and their great grandpas thought and think that it's okay, they're not going to be around. So they just need to get out of my way.
Well, interesting. Listening to what you said, I'm going to challenge any of those folks who were in opposition to be a guest on the show, so we can hear all sides here. But
right.
You certainly have created what I believe is a great discussion amongst all of us that we need to have about the model itself for death care.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that's where it all starts. I do believe that that's all where it starts in as well. And it's really important to me that we do have that conversation as well.
Absolutely. Well, Christine, this year you are the president of the ICCFA. So what are some of your goals for that organization as your president?
Great question. And coincidentally, that is exactly what my goals and organization is all about here then too. I have been talking a lot about bringing us together, making sure that we are unifying to create the best experience in a very difficult situation for the consumer. And if we keep fighting amongst ourselves and trying to cut each other's throats and trying to chop each other's fingers off, none of us are going to get anywhere. And because we are not thinking about the consumer. So for me, in my role right now, that is my message. If I can take this one organization at a time, have them open their eyes and realize that we are in this together and we need to be in this together. That's what my mission is right now. And I know I'm not going to be able to radically change that in a year, but we can make small changes and a little bit of progress. I've done my job.
Yes, you have. And speaking of cutting off fingers and gnashing of teeth, I played golf with you before.
Great. You were on my team, though.
I know, and that's how bad it is when we were playing. We had a ball, didn't we? Christine could
yes, we did.
The cover off a ball. So we're here at Funeral Nation, Ryan and I, and our companies we represent a real dedication to ICCFA, and I think it's a wonderful organization. And certainly, on the oncoming year, whatever we can do to enhance your efforts, we're going to do that with the F Nation out here.
Thank you.
So, you're welcome. So now it gets to be the fun time. It's close to the end. Our listeners, this probably is one of the best segments that we find out some really fun stuff about people, and turns into an annual video now. So you ready for your lightning round?
Absolutely.
Okay, favorite vacation spot?
Italy.
Ah, nice. Short game or tee box?
Tee box. Grip and whip, man. That's the best way, and that's the best thing about that sport.
Yeah, and you shut me up on the first one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which is nearly impossible. Favorite meal?
Anything that I don't have to cook. I think it's one of those things. I do not enjoy cooking, and I'll eat just about everything.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to Wisconsin, cheddar or Munster?
Okay, not a big cheese fan, but if you ask me about beer, that's another story. The beer question is one that I'd have to go after.
All right, so number one beer.
I'm going to say my favorite is probably Spotted Cow, which is a Wisconsin beer.
All right, well, and from the cow, the cheese, so that was all interrelated. I got it.
Yes.
So, celebrity crush?
David Beckham.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, really big time.
Yeah, because he's a really good soccer player. I know.
Yeah, he's a babe. He's a
That's
babe.
what it is. Soccer babe. All right, Titleist or Callaway?
Callaway.
Ah, interesting.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Well, great. That's a little about Christine. You know, we're grateful that you came here to chat with us. There's a lot of chatter about this. We certainly invite folks who don't believe the same way and have an opposing view. And hopefully we can get one of those folks on here shortly. But we're grateful. And number one, it's all about conversation. Whether you like it or not, I think that's one of the things in our country that we've gone away from, is that we don't have the ability to disagree and still like each other.
Yes.
And I think that's a fallacy that we have. We need to look past that and figure out where we can find commonalities. And just because I hit left-handed and you hit right doesn't mean we can't be buddies.
I totally agree. Thank you very much. And I'm glad you're the left-handed one.
Well, thanks for being on the show, and we'll see you soon and look forward to how we can support you in your presidency there.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys covering this topic because it is important.
You're welcome.
All right,
Thank you,
take care.
Christine.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Fantastic interview, Jeff. And I mean, I think this is a conversation that needs to be had more. It's amazing to me that Wisconsin's kiboshing this, but we know there's some other states that have done the same thing. And so let's, if you are on the flip side of this conversation, this is your official invite to reach out to us. And we'd love to have you on the show and kind of hear your opinions from the other side as well. So this interview was brought to us by Sitch Casket, disruptors on the casket side of our business with what they're doing. So let's roll that promo.
Funeral Nation is sponsored by Sitch Casket. Sitch has changed everything for funeral homes facing declining profits from cremation, with casket quality equal to the top domestic brands but at half the cost or better. Sitch, only your accountant can tell the difference.
All right, Commander. Well, that wraps up episode 116. 116 episodes into the effing show.
You know, it is effing unbelievable. And again, I'm excited because we're at least bringing conversation to the forefront for people to talk. And whether anything is solved, people need to hear the conversation. Now, interesting, a last point that this decision up in Wisconsin really was about the ability for states to make their own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next person we have on, we want to perhaps go down that path as well. But anyway, so you're going to be back up in Ohio. I'm going to be here in the desert paradise. As you can see, it's tough living here.
Yeah,
and
it looks bad.
We'll have a 4th of July special show coming up next week, right?
That's it. Okay.
All right, buddy.
All right,
safe
Commander.
travels. Enjoy the beach today, and I'm going to get to work here shortly.
All right. Until next time, have a great effing week.
Out here.